Alright, good day everyone. For this our introductory class, the next thing we're going to be doing is creating a table. And for us to do that, we have to right click on here and add a new item. And then once we come into this screen, realize that most of these elements or items are structured or categorized in a particular way that fits. With time you will know which is under what, but for in order for you to have access to all of them, you can just click on this d is 5 items, and then you see that all of the items or elements that you can add to this project are listed in alphabetical order. So like I mentioned earlier, I want to be creating a table, and I can find that from the data model part. So once I do that, I click on table and then I specify the name. I'll be using AUG for every item I'm going to be creating here. And for me to do that, I'll type AUG and then put my first training just for this specific. And then once I'm done with adding the name, I click on add. So once that processes, you add our new element that has been created to this part as a list of elements. Now, once that is created, we realize that there are different properties that can be added to a table at a point in at a later time in this class, where we'll be going in depth on our on tables and properties and how they reflect to each of them. We're going to go in details about that, but for now, as an introductory class, I'm going to go ahead and give us other things about that can be added to a table. So for a table, we can add fields, we can add field groups, we can add indexes, we can add full indexes, we can add relations, we can add delete actions, we can add mappings, we can add methods as well as events. So like I said, at a later class, we're going to discuss this in depth. For an introductory class, I'm going to be adding fields to this part. To add field, you just have to click on the field option and then right click and then click on new. In case of adding a field, we have different types of fields that can be added. Fields can also be likened to columns in different data models. For this case, I'm going to be adding a string model. Just click on it. A string field, sorry, an integer field, a real field, a date field as well, an enum field. Okay, I'm going to be using this as to explain the different fields in that can be added in Dynamics. As a later class, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about them in depth. So I'm adding a field, and like I mentioned, there are other properties that can be added to every item that is added to Dynamics. We can in case of a field, we can adjust the text, the string size, we can give it a label, we can specify if we want it to be visible or not. There are so many fields like I mentioned. We can as well add change the name we're seeing like this. So for a part that we skipped, we're supposed to create a label which will hold all the labels on this project. So to do that is the same way. I have to go to add a new item. So like I mentioned, they are actually specified in the different parts of here, and I want it is under labels and resources, and I want a label file, and this is AUG. Sorry about this. When it comes to naming convention, we're going to go into that in depth. For now, I'll just give this um like this. I'll keep it like this and then click on add. Yeah, so I just have to put this here so that I can add my labels to whatever I'm creating. So we'll give it a little bit of time to show the next screen. Yes, so I'll go to the next page. Okay, I want NUS, yes, US language, yes, next. And then finish. Okay, so once that is done, I can easily change the labels for what I'm doing right now. Oh, apologies, I was supposed to take just creating a table. Now I'm taking both creating a table as well as creating a label. Is an addition to us. Okay, since it's the first time it's running, it's going to take a bit of our time. So let's please hold on while that is loading. So while that is loading, I still have to. Okay, so the first one I want to create, I just give it a name. You can change it later. Okay. New. Control A, Control C. New. So I want to copy this and then add it to the label part. Yeah, so I just paste that here. So I have to come back here to save this. So once I've done that, I've given this label is what will be showing at the front end, like I mentioned, and this will be what will be used to refer to it while coding. So I'll just change it to a name we can understand. No. Okay, this is an integer and it holds an integer value, so I can just put this as quantity. Okay. Okay, it's going to take a while, but let's just do this. Give this amount, start date. So in order for you to change this, you can either right click and then click on rename, or you press the button F2 on your laptop. So that's what I did. Okay, and this is status. So when it comes to creating a of an enum, you have to make sure that you are going to be adding an enum type to it here. So in the case of different types of enum, I'm going to come back to that later. Like I said, this is an introductory class of creating a table. So I'll just go ahead and give this a boolean. Boolean is either a yes or a no. So I'm going to give this a predefined boolean type. So once I save this, I'm done creating our first table. But if you notice, our table doesn't have a name. If I come on here, our table label is quite empty. So I'll just give it a name and then we can end this introductory class on creating a table for now. Okay, first. Beautiful. Okay. So thank you for this class. We're going to come back later and continue. Thank you very much.